everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you how to make a felt Christmas tree ornament like this one. And yes, you will have to sew if you want it to look like mine, but don't freak out and be like, oh my god, I can't sew, because I'm going to teach you how to hand sew. To make this ornament you'll need some felt, which is really inexpensive. You can get 5 of these sized for $1 usually. You'll need a needle. It doesn't really matter what size, whatever you're comfortable with. Some thread, and it doesn't matter what size again, but you don't need the heavy duty kind, just normal. Some ribbon to make it into an ornament. I use 3mm. You'll also want some stuffing that you can use for pillows or stuffed animals. It's just really soft. If you don't have this, you could use cotton balls. Then you'll also need a pair of scissors, and for decoration you'll want some glass seed beads, some buttons, some sequins, or whatever else you want to sew on or glue on. And then if you're going to glue stuff onto this fabric, this glue works really well. You can use hot glue or a different kind of glue, but this one holds stuff on really well. The first step is to cut a piece of felt, fold it in half, and then cut a triangle to any size that you'd like, and make sure you cut through both layers so you'll get 2 triangles of the same exact size. Now it's time to thread your needle. Go ahead and stick one end of the thread through the eye of the needle, then pull it until both ends are together and the needle is in the middle. On a side note, you're going to want way more thread than I used here, but this is just so I can show you easily. If you end up not adding enough, you can always add more and re-thread your needle in between stitches. Then you'll need to tie a knot in the top by looping both strings around your finger and sticking both ends through the loop. Repeat this step a couple of times until your knot is big enough. This is probably a good size. This next step only applies if you're going to sew on decorations like I did on this tree. If you're going to glue on decorations, just skip to the next step. But what I'm doing here is sewing on beads to the top triangle. To do this, you're going to choose the spot where you want your next bead to go, or your first bead in your case. Then stick your needle through the back, grab the bead that you want, and make sure that the hole is large enough to go over the entire needle. Thread it through. Then put your needle back down through the felt, really close to the bead. Then pull the thread all the way through like that. To secure the bead, you'll want to do this 2 times. Stick your needle back up through the felt, pull through, put your needle through the hole of the bead, put your needle back through the felt one last time, and pull the thread all the way through. All you're going to do is keep repeating this step for every bead or button that you add on to your Christmas tree. The back of it will look kind of messy like this, but it doesn't matter because you're never going to see it once it's done. So again. Once you sew on your last bead or decoration, you're going to need to knot your thread in the back so it doesn't come off. And I also put it through this bead 3 times instead of 2, just in case. I'm going to put my needle halfway through the felt. Then I'm going to loop the needle through the thread that I have left so it forms a knot. So you can run your needle through the fabric and make knots a couple of times just to make sure it stays. After you cut your thread from the previous step, you'll either have to re-thread your needle if you don't have enough thread left, or you'll just have to re-tie it at the top because I have all this, yeah, it's hard to see. But anyway, I have a bunch left. So now you're going to sew both triangles together. Again, you're going to take your top triangle, start at the bottom left or bottom right corner. So yeah, I took my needle up through the bottom of the felt so the knot is hidden on the back, and you can cut some excess off if you'd like. Then you're going to match up your triangles like so. And all you're going to do for this is a simple stitch over the edge. You're going to take your needle over the edge and bring it through the back so it goes through both layers. You may have to guide your thread while you're pulling it through so it doesn't get caught on the corner and so it doesn't make a knot or anything like that. Again, sew through both and pull through. You'll want to do it fairly close together, but they don't have to overlap or anything. And when you're doing this, make sure that your triangles don't move apart. Also, don't sew too close to the edge. This is perfect. If you get any closer than this, then it could tear your felt. So go ahead and do this stitch along the whole side, and when we get to the top, I will show you what to do next. Alright, once you've sewed your edge up to about this point, it's time to take your ribbon, fold it in half into a loop, and then stick the ends into the top of the tree like this. While you're sewing, you're going to have to do a really good job of holding this together and making sure that the needle goes into both ends of the ribbon. You're still going to do the normal stitch around the back and through. Just make sure that your needle gets through the ribbon. So I sewed down just about this entire side, but I'm going to change my thread. So to do this on the sides, you're going to make a stitch, then put the needle through this loop and pull through. And then I'm just going to do that same exact thing in the same spot pretty much. Then you can cut it off and rethread your needle and then just start in the same spot, but remember to start underneath so the knot gets hidden. Now I cut a little brown rectangle of felt for the tree trunk, and I'm going to stick a little bit of it into the bottom of the tree, and it's going to have to stay put while you sew, so you can sew it on. When you're ready to sew this tree trunk on, you're going to use the same stitch, but as you can see, just stick the needle through the trunk, pull through, and then it will be on the back, and then you bring it back through like normal. So once your tree trunk has a couple stitches to secure it into place, you're going to put some stuffing into your tree. Just put a little in at a time and work it up all the way to the top with your finger, and get some over to this other corner and some for this corner. Don't overstuff it or anything, but that should be good. Then go ahead and sew all the way across the bottom to this corner. Make sure you keep the stuffing out of the way. When you're to this corner, just go ahead and give it a couple stitches in the same spot and tie it off, cut it, and then you're done sewing. The final step is to add a tree topper. So what I did was took some Jewel-It Jewel glue, and I'm going to glue a button on. If you're using a button, you could even sew it onto the top, but I don't want any thread to be showing through the holes of the button, so that's why I'm gluing it. You can try using a different kind of glue. I'm not sure which glue would work best. I should start a little tree farm over there. I gotta add some snow though. There are both of the ornaments that I've made. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out all of my links in the down bar and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You guys have a great day and happy holidays. I'll see you soon.